Good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the ninth and penultimate round of the WCS Formula 3 League. Coming to you live here from the TT Assen circuit, which is going to be quite an important round here today. Really quite crucial because today could be the day that we crown our Formula 3 champion. It's not for certain, but it certainly could happen. And that's all thanks to the fact that Woutke Hoekstra has been an absolute storm as of late, taking 5 victories in the last 7 races alone, and he's really turned his championship fortunes around. And so that means, Josh, today it could be a completely different story. I'm Sam Jones, and joining me today is Joshua Anderson, and it really is quite a crucial day for the two championship challengers.
Yeah, this is going to be a really crucial day for the title, and, well, it's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out because, well, we have 4 drivers mathematically in contention for this title, but realistically, we are looking at just 2 of them, Woutke Hoekstra and Sven de Vries, in the top 2 positions of the championship, and the gap between them at the moment is 49 points, and the ramifications of that basically means this. Simply put, Woutke Hoekstra, to seal the title here at Assen, has to outscore Sven de Vries by just 2 points. 1 isn't good enough, because there are scenarios where Sven can still take the title if he is within a point's contention. If he's within a point of Woutke within this round, because that will leave him on 50 going into the last doubleheader at the Red Bull Ring. If Woutke Hoekstra, though, scores 2 more points than Sven de Vries over this race weekend, then he will seal the championship.
Yeah, it's going to be that close of a round then, and well, Josh, I'm sure you're going to be our maths guru for tonight and keep us updated at all times. It's certainly going to be one that we'll recap during race 1 and 2 as well. Woutke can't win the title after race 1, but it's certainly possible by the end of the night. So we'll keep tabs on it, keep you guys up to date as much as we can. Well, completely during the night because this is really going to be quite interesting stuff, and you certainly don't want to miss it if we manage to crown our champion tonight. But I'm sure, like you guys at home, you're probably hoping that it will go all the way down to the final round, which is certainly possible because de Vries hasn't done too bad of a job here today. So we've already had qualifying, and we're currently in the warm session, and qualifying was actually taken by Borja Milan. He got pole position by a tenth of a second over our championship leader Woutke Hoekstra, and just behind him in third place is Sven de Vries as well. So the 3 of them are up there. Milan, who's been impressive in qualifying as of late, so it's no surprise to see him up there again. And of course, he's also thinking about his championship at the moment. He could still win it, but it'd take quite a lot of luck. But he could certainly snatch third away in the points from Jason Muscat as well, because there's only about 27 points between the 2 of them. So Milan will be looking for a win here today. And Muscat, who's going to be starting, I believe, in 4th place. Yes, he is. He'll certainly be trying to make sure that he just picks up enough points so that Milan can't catch him. And even also looking ahead to de Vries as well. So there's still a lot to play for, and it's certainly not over yet in any meaning for the top 4 in the championship. Further back, it's gone away a little bit because Simoncic and Brugman haven't raced for the last few rounds, so they've kind of fallen back in 5th to 6th place. And it also looks like Tobias Olsen won't be here tonight either. He's missed the last couple of rounds also, and it's a real shame because he was doing quite a good job as well. So he's missing, but there's still plenty of guys here as well. And Josh, it's a bit of an interesting track, this one, isn't it? It's mainly used by bikes, not quite well known for being a car track, although there is a lot of automobile racing that occurs at Assen.
Yeah, there is a bit of car racing that goes on us, mostly motorbike track, as you say. So, and the Formula 3s are going to be a real challenge around here. Not too many overtaking opportunities, and being a bike track, it is quite difficult in some places for these tracks. Cars predominantly. So it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out for sure. And well, I'm sure for Jason Muscat and Borja Milan, they will be thinking here that they need to get as good results as they possibly can because they are still in championship contention. Let's not forget that. But for Jason Muscat, who is in third, it's not looking too great because he is 67 points behind Whoopke Hoekstra. So he would need to score 8 points more than Whoopke in race 1 to stay in it. And that he's got to be within 75 after race 1 and 50 after race 2. If he's not, then he is out of championship contention. And, well, really, for Boya Milan, it's looking even worse. He's on 158 points. So if you do the maths on that one, you will find that he may already be out of it, short of scoring really serious points and Whoopke tripping up.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of luck for Milan, isn't it? But I think one thing that both Muscat and Milan will probably be looking at a little bit more intensively is that they could win the constructors or teams championship tonight as well, as both of them drive a multiforce, and they've got a decent lead at the moment, 71 points in that championship, with a few more points to play for than the drivers, of course, because it's 2 drivers counted per team. So if Multiforce could do it, then it'll be good for them, and maybe a bit of a consolation if they don't quite manage to stay in this championship hunt. But we'll certainly find out in a second, because we just switched over to the race and all the guys are coming onto the grid. So this is really where the tension is starting to rise.
Yeah, this is really where it's going to start to rise, and well, what compounds everything is our 2 championship main contenders, De Vries and Hoekstra, are positions directly near each other. These two are pretty much, I'd say, parallel, but they're on different rows on the grid, but they are so close to each other at the start. This is going to be crucial for both of them.
Yeah, it certainly is. So they're just about all onto the grid now, and we'll take the 1 formation lap before we get going. So here we go then. Milan has taken the field away, and he's heading around the track now at his very own pace. So Milan for Multiforce is on pole with Hoekstra in second. Sven de Vries is in third for Satellite, with the second Multiforce of Jason Muscat in fourth. So the top 4 in the championship are all in the top 4. Not in the same order, of course, but certainly the big hitters are all right there. Eric Stampert, a fantastic qualifying for him for Woods Racing in fifth, with Jeffrey Fournier for TVR Blue Voss and positive points for himself and his team. Of course, tonight they'll be looking to make a few late gains in the season. Wesley Stefano and Joe Watts, both the EJ Engineering drivers, in 7th and 8th on the grid, with Jacob Pegg, the second Satellite Racing driver, in 9th, with Mike Quint for MDR Motorsports in 10th. Rob Mason for Fanatec Drake Racing is 11th, with Rennick Hoekstra, the second CM Tech driver, of course teammates to the current championship leader, down in 12th position. And rounding out the slightly smaller grid today is Richard Brooks, who I've noticed has come in the last couple of rounds. So he's a late comer to the championship, but he's learning the ropes now for racing team Schroten, and we'll have to see what he can do. But Josh, looking at this then as they go around on the lap, is there anyone that can maybe get involved with this top 4 tussle, that can maybe interfere and upset a few drivers' days?
Well, Stanford, we don't know about in the race. Well, the 5th place is great. If he can hold on to that, he could be a real threat. I mean, usually he's further down the back of the order, so great to see him up in 5th place. Of course, Jeffrey Fournier, always a hard charge. I think Eric Stanford should probably aim to battle Jeffrey, really. Wesley Stefano as well, behind, very capable, as is Joel Watts. You know, any of these top 8, I'd imagine, given a good enough run, could interfere. Some of the top 4 run into trouble. Race win-wise, though, I can't look past our championship leader, Whoopke Hoekstra.
Yeah, he's been an absolute storming form of late, hasn't he? That you wouldn't bet against him taking his 4th win in a row and 6th win in 8 races, as it could be, as they line up on the grid now. I'm actually going to go for Milan here. I think he's got a point to prove, although just seeing his cars disappear there for a second made me get a little bit worried. I don't want to see any of these guys fall out because of any internet issues, but they're all on the grid now then. Everyone's lined up in their spot. The lights are coming on. The engines rise. The penultimate round is underway, and Milan, he doesn't get a great start because Hoekstra's already got past him, and we haven't even made it into turn 1. Muscat as well is going up the inside and looks like he's going to take 2nd position early on. And what's happened to Sven de Vries? He's down in 4th and gets a little bit loose and a bit of contact there with Fournier, but just about manages to get through. They're still side by side though, and it looks like de Vries gets it. Fournier slots into 5th, Stefano into 6th, and behind them Mike Quint's already made a great start up into 7th place as he looks around the outside of Joe Watts right now. They're still side by side there. Nothing changed up front. This is where the battle is right now. Watts trying to hold on as he's right behind his teammate, and they're really pushing each other around on the track there, just squeezing each other a little bit as we head towards this next corner, and there we go. Quint has got the position, but runs a little bit wide on the exit, just about holds on, and Watts has to settle back into 8th, Pegs in 9th, Mason in 10th, and I'm thankful to say that everyone has got through this first half a lap or so without any incident.
Yeah, everyone's managed to get through lap 1 without a couple of incidents. Really, it's all gone nicely for a lot of people, but Eric Stanford's had a hard time. He's gone from 5th to 11th. He's dropped 6 places, and now behind Rob Mason, being chased down by Rink Hoekstra. So it's not been a good start for Stanford. Whoopie Hoekstra has had a good start, but Sven de Vries is pressuring Boyer Milan for 3rd here. He's pressuring him big time. And remember, Sven de Vries needs to outscore Whoopie Hoekstra, remember, if he wants to really keep his championship alive, because if Whoopie Hoekstra scores 2 points more than Sven, he seals the title. A point will keep Sven in it, but he's going to rely on race wins. And Whoopie Hoekstra, where he's at now, is going to be probably on course to get this race win. So Sven de Vries, if he's going to stay in contention by only outscoring Whoopie by 1 point, you imagine really it's going to come down to how well Whoopie does in race 2. And Sven's not going to be able to rely on race wins. He will need to outscore him in the rest of the season.
Yeah, this is big for Hoekstra right now. He's had a great start, a perfect start you could call it. And over the line he was half a second ahead of Muscat, but that looks like that gap has already increased because Muscat is certainly falling into the clutches of his teammate Milan now. It is really a train of cars behind Muscat, Milan, and then de Vries. Fournier is holding on, and Wesley Stefano is just a little bit further back, but certainly Muscat looks like he's just starting to struggle a little bit, and de Vries again looking all over the back of Milan. He's got to try and clear both of these cars as quickly as he can to keep pace with Hoekstra. He can't afford to drop any more points if he wants to still keep this championship charge alive.
Yeah, well, he needs to try and keep a championship charge. You know, he needs a good result here, really, if he wants to keep a championship challenge on. I mean, Muscat does, Milan does. Realistically, though, it is these top 4 challenging for the championship. And Sven de Vries, you know, the second next challenge at Whoopie Hoekstra, really. And Whoopie has got the perfect start this race. He's done everything he needed to do. He's just gotten out there and he's gotten into the lead. And this win will put the real pressure on Sven, because by my maths, he's going to gain even more points on Sven here. He's going to go, well, he's going to go 1st to 4th is pretty much what was needed here. So Sven's going to have to do a seriously good job in race 2.
Yeah, he certainly is. And I'm sure right now, though, he's probably thinking solely about race 1, and he nearly lost another position going into the final chicane there. Fournier just had a little look up the inside, but as is the nature of this track, very difficult to overtake, and Fournier had to back out of it because otherwise it definitely would have been an accident, as he wasn't quite far along enough aside him. But that means that Milan has been allowed to now attack his teammate a little bit more here. Jason Muscat and Milan, the 2 Multiforce drivers, are really duking it out for the 2nd place right now. But again, Muscat's just planted his car exactly where he needs it to be. But he has lost another second to Hoekstra, so Hoekstra's lead now is up to 1.5 seconds already. And Muscat certainly needs to try and pick up the pace a little bit, maybe forget about the guys behind him, and just get on with it right now.
Yeah, he just needs to get on with it, really. That is the thing, that is exactly it. Just needs to get on with the race in hand at the moment, to be honest, because otherwise it's just going to not go well for him.
Yeah, and actually we just had a change of position there. Milan has got back past Muscat then, so recovered another position that he lost at that start. And we'll have to see now, can Milan start to pull away from Muscat? Can he catch up with Hoekstra? The gap is now 1.7 seconds, so extended a little bit more. But this is all down to Milan now. He had the pace of qualifying, but does he have the pace in the race? As he go through the first couple of corners, I saw there, de Vries just went a little bit wide, brought it back onto the track, didn't lose any positions, probably just a fraction of time lost, but certainly won't be wanting to make mistakes like that too often.
Yeah, he's not going to want to make mistakes like that too often at all. And, well, here's a championship update for you. Based entirely on the race finishing with these standings, Sven de Vries needs to finish 5th or higher in race 2 to even so much as stand a chance of being in the championship contention. He gets a massive slide on there, though, and 40 is potentially going to get ahead of him in the next maybe couple of corners if he gets a good enough run. But yeah, de Vries needs 5th or higher in race 2 in order to even so much as stay in the championship running. And even then, I imagine Whoopie Hoekstra would need only win 1 point discover that. So realistically, he will need to win the second race, and even then, Hoekstra will probably only need 6th or higher. So Sven de Vries needs to get a shift on.
He certainly does, and while he's looking a bit scruffy out here at the moment, isn't he? Sorry, Josh, I think you were trying to do a bit of maths while I was kept going back to you there. But Fournier right now looking all over the back of de Vries, trying to get past him every which way as we go into the final chicane to complete yet another lap. Lap 4 is now complete already, but Fournier just can't quite get alongside. He's having a look again into turn 1. De Vries just still takes the apex well, keeps it on the track this time through turn 4, but certainly he doesn't look like he's really able to attack Muscat right now. He's definitely coming under a lot of attack from Fournier instead, through this slow section of the track through turn 4, turn 5, now onto the long straight, which is probably where drivers are most likely going to have a chance to overtake. There's a good long straight to slipstream down here. But it's a very fast right-hander of turn 8 and then straight into 9 as well. So you really have to be right alongside. And right now, de Vries got a great run through those couple of corners. He's onto the back of Muscat once again. But again, just not quite close enough and just not the pace to really overtake there. Just a bit too quick, not enough slowish corners and large braking zones, but he has to dive up the inside. Oh, that's risky, that is. I don't know if there was a bit of contact, but that certainly came close between the two, and de Vries just needs to be careful. He can't afford to throw this away, even if desperation is starting to rise.
Yeah, he cannot throw this away, because if he does, then he's going to lose loads of points to Whoopke Hoekstra, and it's going to come to the point where even if Sven wins, Whoopke's pretty much going to have to just go like something like only a few points and he's got the title. If Sven were to go right down to the back of the order, he's getting all sorts of jiggly on Jason Muscat. He goes inside, he's practically going and using all of the track to try and get through here into turn 1, but Muscat is just holding strong here, although Sven's got the outside now. He's been forced the outside twice, but he's not going to let that stop him.
Whoa! Free wide through turn 2. Did you see that? That was incredible. Fournier just poked his nose up out of nowhere, and somehow they all managed to get through turn 2.
He just slipped it on the inside, and Fournier wants there as well. Muscat didn't quite let a bit of contact between them, but look at Sven there getting through.
Yeah, he finally got through then. So he's up into third. Fournier's going to try and follow de Vries through, and again they're going to be free wide here, going into turn 8. This time around, Fournier just backs out of it. And they all slip through. Quint has just caught up with these guys as well. They've definitely cost themselves quite a bit of time with all this scrapping, but great racing. And I still can't believe that we haven't seen one of these guys, or at least all 3 of these guys, going into the gravel. That was it. Incredible stuff.
There'll still be an 8-point gap between de Vries and Hoekstra if this is the finishing order, though. So Sven still hasn't done enough. He needs to get to in front where Boy Milan isn't passing. But look at this. Now Fournier is under threat from Quint behind.
They certainly are. They go side by side there through turn 14 and then into 15 and 16. Fournier just about manages to hold on again. Quint is looking over the back of him though, and into the final chicane. Fournier is just about going to hold on there. Quint's just going to have to settle in behind, and let's not forget Wesley Stefano in 7th place is right there as well, and he now has a look at Quint. It certainly is a case of you have to be really slick with your moves. So Muscat also having a look at de Vries into turn 1. So de Vries isn't quite able to get away from these guys right now, and he really does need to though, because he's 3.2 seconds behind Milan, and then a further 2 seconds between Milan and Hoekstra as well. That is a huge gap.
Yeah, it really is quite a big gap now, and well, it's not a gap that he wants, Sven de Vries, you know, the gap to Milan, because he needs to start bringing that down. Otherwise, it's going to increase his workload in race 2 and make Whoopke Hoekstra's life a little bit easier. And, well, it is a long shot from where he is in the championship at the moment. I think Sven must have known that coming in as well. But, you know, I would be very surprised if he, you know, doesn't give up. He's not going to give up, Sven de Vries. He's not the type to give up on the championship, even when the odds are this stacked against him. He hops the curb there. You see, that's how determined he is. But I just hope he's not pushing that Formula 3 too hard.
Yeah, there is easily a case of overdriving, isn't there? And I think when Sven has seen this gap now after all that battling, he certainly will be worrying a little bit, because the gap has got immensely bigger during that time. At one point he was behind Hoekstra, and now he can't even see him. He's that far into the distance. But slowly starting to reel in Milan just a little bit though, as we go across the line. I think actually the gap's extended a little bit between Milan and De Vries, so he just doesn't seem to have the pace right now to keep up with the front two. We did see in qualifying they were about 0.3 of a second faster than the rest of the field, were Hoekstra and Milan, and right now that seems to be translating into the race as well.
It does just seem to be translating in the race, yeah. And, well, speaking of the race, the dominance of the race is obviously Whoopie Hoekstra so far. I mean, he's done it again. He's just shot into a lead and he's showing no signs of surrendering it. He's just gone there. He's gotten the job done. No problems. And he must be on cruise control in terms of the championship title now. I mean, he's going to make his life so much easier in race 2 by just being here in first place now. Although the battle behind him for third between De Vries, Fournier and Muscat still raging on, and now even Mike Quinn wants to get involved as well, so Mike Quinn could throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah, he can. He's certainly kept up with these guys and shaken off Stefano just a little bit. Stefano's dropped about a second back behind these guys now, but not completely out of it, of course. But yeah, Quinn having a look at Fournier. Fournier, ever since De Vries got past Muscat, he doesn't seem to have been quite the same. He isn't quite able to get onto the back of Muscat as he was with De Vries earlier on. So strange stuff there for Fournier. I thought he had the pace.
Quinn's had an off. He's had a collision there. There's been a problem for the Dutchman. And I think it was involved with, he got involved with Fournier, yeah. Let's see, coming in the last couple of corners. Oh, he just seemed to outbrake himself or something. And, he just, the brakes locked, trying to avoid hitting Fournier when he just went round. And he's down into 7th now, but Stefano's just gone off. So, time has not been lost. Yeah. Well, actually, wait, Quinn's got on again!
And look at that, Stefano's lost his front wing as well. I thought I saw something flying at the final chicane. So, I don't know what's happened there, but both of those guys who were doing so well in 6th and 7th, Quintus, Stefano, it's all just gone from bad to worse for them.
Stefano had to go straight onto the chicane and he hit an anti-cut. That's what's caused it. It just sheared the front wing off that car, so it caused him to lose that. And, well, Mike Quint is actually, where has Quint gone? He's down in 10th now, and he's dropped right back down the order. He had another spin, I noticed, yeah. Coming through one. Oh, he just hopped a curb and got it unstable, and then he spun again trying to get back on track. That's what's happened. No, now he's just had until he's just smashed the barrier. Well, that's his race done. Just that is a string of bad luck for Quint there. He's just coming through that corners there. I don't know whether he damaged the car or what, but yeah, he just came in too hot, and then hopped the curb and the car oversteered. He was just a millimetre off, crashed into it, race over. But oh no, he's trying to look at Midori back to the pits.
Oh wow, he's got 3 wheels on his wagon, but he wants to carry on going. I saw before the race that he said he just wants to finish this race. Well, after the results that he's had recently, he's had quite a few did not finishes. So hopefully he can get to the end of this one. But it's not very wise driving back with 3 wheels, and he's kind of got it beached in the gravel at the moment as well.
I think he's got it back. I think he is going to make it as well. That is hard for Mike Quinn, trying to get it back to the pit, see if he can fix the car with 3 wheels. I mean, determination at its finest. Well, props to him for that. I mean, that is a great bit of showmanship from him. Meanwhile, I do hate to break from that, but Jeffrey Fournier is mounting a serious challenge on Jason Muscat here.
Yeah, I think now that Quintus Stefano have gone, it just seems to have released Fournier. He hasn't hit. I think he's not worrying about what's going on behind him, and he's fully focused now on Muscat ahead. Muscat, who's in 4th place at the moment. Fournier in 5th place. And well, this is actually quite important because Muscat doesn't want to be dropping too many points with Milan in 2nd right now. It's only going to close up between the two in their little championship tussle for 3rd places in the Drivers' Championship, of course. And the two will also be thinking about the constructors as well, because a good double points haul would be great as Fournier looks to the outside of Muscat, but just has to settle back in, go through the final chicane to complete the 10th lap of this race. And that means that Fournier is still in 5th place, but he's certainly looking racy indeed, and De Vries looks like he's starting to pull away from these guys as well, so it's certainly turned into a little private battle between the two of them.
Yeah, looking into a nice little battle between these two at the moment, and well, it could be very interesting, a very battle indeed. And well, Fournier at the moment really just on. And oh, Quint has actually retired. Well, he's not managed to get it back to the pits. Then obviously, well, when he was in the pits, but he made it to the pits. But then he just seemed to he overshot his pit box, I think, and he tried to get it back and he couldn't. And yeah, he just tried to get it back and he pulled into the pits and then just retired when he tried, and Stefano's followed him.
Yeah, that's 2 out the race, and Fournier has just got past Muscat as well into turn 8. He was up the inside and just broke a little bit later into the corner at the preferred line then for the first part of the corner, and then into turn 9 as well. So that means Fournier is up into 4th place now. Muscat back down into 5th, and it's about 2 seconds between De Vries and Fournier. We'll have to see now. Has Fournier got the pace to go for a podium potentially? It's certainly not out of the question. Coming up to the pits, the pit stops, the one mandatory pit stop that's going to be really critical, I think, is to where De Vries, Fournier and Muscat come out, as they're still all relatively close together.
Yeah, going to be especially crucial for Sven because, if he makes any positions up in this, he gets him closer to Hoekstra, and that means closer in the championship run as well, so he needs this to go well for him. Whoopke, I think, can take it a lot easier because he's not directly worrying about the championship fight. Of course, he'd like to win this race, but it's not paramount to his title chances that he does win it.
No, it certainly isn't, and at the moment, De Vries and Hoekstra are pretty much matching each other in terms of pace, but it's Milan who's picked up the pace a little bit, and he's certainly closed the gap down between himself and Hoekstra. It's under a second now. He's taken 3 tenths out of him in that last second alone. So Hoekstra's starting to struggle with these tyres a little bit. I'm not too sure, because he doesn't want to be taking it this easy, this early on, especially with the pace that we know Milan's had around this track so far here today. He's had to come through a bit of traffic, recover from 4th place, and now that he's been let loose, it certainly looks like he's just got into a nice little rhythm, and it's certainly putting Hoekstra under a little bit of pressure now.
Yeah, boy, really on a hard charge here. We could see this battle for the lead pan out, and that's going to... Sven De Vries is going to be the one person on track who probably wants this to happen the most. He's going to be thinking, yes, Boyer, you go for him. Hold him up, man. Because it's gonna mean that Sven here is going to potentially, if Boyer goes through for the lead, Sven is going to mean... It's going to mean less workload for the American, because Whoopke Hoekstra is not going to outscore him by as much as he would by winning the race than he will be by second, because of course, if you win, you get more points than you for coming second. So Sven's going to want Boyer to overtake Whoopke here. Yep,
I'm sure he will do. Fournier right now is the first of our front runners then to actually make their scheduled pit stop, and a little bit early at the end of lap 12, probably about a lap or 2 earlier than most of these guys are going to pit. So maybe Fournier is thinking that he can get out on some fresh rubber, maybe make up a bit of time, and potentially leapfrog Sven De Vries in the pit stops, and that would really put pains to De Vries's title challenge right here. But De Vries is just pounding away. He's putting the laps in and keeping them relatively consistent now that he's got some clear air, and he's actually closing slightly on the 2 leaders, but not by much. It has to be said, only about 2 tenths per lap at the moment.
Yeah, he really needs to push hard here to Sven, and well, if he's going to catch the leaders, that's what he needs to do. But yeah, boy, Milan is just, look, he's dropped the gap massively. It's down to 6 tenths at the last sprint. I'm making half a second by eye. So all of a sudden, we have a battle for the lead on, and that's what Sven De Vries wants.
Yeah, that's exactly what he wants. Hoekstra now really coming under pressure, and both him and Milan have stayed out for yet another lap. So neither driver feels like they want to pit just yet, but Milan is certainly looking quicker of the 2 right now. The gap is down to only half a second. So that's a big chunk of time lost, and De Vries is actually in. So De Vries pits in at the halfway stage of the race, exactly halfway. He's decided to make his one mandatory pit stop, and this is going to be critical now. Where does he come out in relation to Fournier? You have to think that De Vries has done this just to try and bend off the charge that could be coming from Fournier, who's entering the final couple of corners through the chicane now. De Vries leaving the pit lane, gets to the white line, and he's released, and he can go now. And it looks like actually he's going to be okay here. Fournier is a bit too far back. He's only just entering turn 1. De Vries is already going through turn 2. So in the end, De Vries has got Fournier covered off, and that's important for him. He's got a bit of clear track ahead of him as well, so he can try cut the deficit between himself and the leading pair.
Yep, he's going to do that. And, well, this whole Milan Whoopie Hoekstra battle has been improved partially by the existence of a Richard Brooks in terms of traffic. There's going to be traffic in play now. Is Brooks. He's going to get lapped on lap 14 here. And, well, boy, Milan just set the fastest lap of the race when he came across the lap. The start finish the last time. That's how determined he was. The Hoekstra has actually been held up a little bit by Brooks here, and he's trying to get out of the way, but it's held him up enough. Boy, Milan's going to go. Look at this. He's going to go for it.
Yeah, here comes Milan, and there was nearly contact, wasn't there, with Brooks as he entered the pit straight, and Hoekstra has to take a defensive line through one. That's going to compromise it through the rest of the corners here, 2 and 3 as well. But Milan, there we go. He got such an advantage there, of course, not being held up personally, and nearly had a look there. We nearly had a change of position. But Hoekstra just about hung on, but Milan now, he can really smell blood here. I'm sure Hoekstra is going to be a bit worked up about that. He's got his teammate just ahead of him. He's going to be lapping in probably the next lap, actually. So we'll have to see. I don't think his teammate will be holding up anytime soon.
His teammate and his dad, that's Rink Hoekstra ahead of him, so definitely doesn't want to be holding him up, because otherwise there might just be a little bit of openness in the Hoekstra household. But either way, Whoopie wants to get straight past Rink here, and, well, he'll want to go through. I assume he's going to make it easy as a lapped car anyway, but yeah, Boya Milan here, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes, because, well, Boya, if Whoopie's exit is compromised again, Boya's going to have to go. But my question is, why didn't he not just swing as far left as he could and try and take him around the outside? Because that would have been the preferential line. He got squeezed as a result of trying to go past Brooks that way. But let's see what happens this time.
Yeah, we saw De Vries managed to pull it off earlier on, but this time around, here we go into the final chicane once again. This guy still stayed out, and there we go. Back marker, Rennick Hoekstra gets out the way. And this time Whoopie wasn't really compromised too much, so into turn 1, Milan is just a bit too far back. They both run pretty outside of the track, cut into the apex, and run back out wide into turn 2. And it looks as though Milan just can't find a way past right now, as Jason Muscat from 3rd place now pits. So that should give De Vries his 3rd place back. But it's going to be close between Muscat and Fournier. That's really where we've got to be looking right now, because Fournier, of course, got past just before the pit stops and went head to tail right before Fournier pitted. Fournier's coming over the start finish line now. Muscat is only just coming out the pits.
Oh, Whoopie Hoekstra hit some debris there, and he's gone off the track from a car that crashed ahead. He's lost a bit of time there, not too much though. Milan gets a bad exit out of that corner, and it looked like one of the Woods cars. That might have been Stanford who lost his wing. And yeah, it looks like it was Eric Stanford. And the wing was then hit by Hoekstra, who got a bit offline as a result of it. Nothing really major happened though. I was going to put him off slightly. Now, what Boya Milan, I'm thinking this might be a very nice strategy he's pulling here. Maybe his existence behind Whoopie Hoekstra and not pitting is forcing Hoekstra to stay on these tyres. I don't know, because he looks like he's got pace over him. But he's going to want to pit pretty much as close to when Whoopie does as possible. And oh, hang on, he's going for it now, and he slowed down, caught him off guard there. Milan will take the lead. He'll have to pit next lap, though.
Oh, no, Hoekstra spun in the pit lane.
Oh, no!
He's gone backwards, and somehow he's kept his wings, and he's pointing in the right direction. That was a huge mistake. I saw him do the same thing in practice. I can't believe he's done the same thing in the race. But he's a lucky boy right now. Does he have a longish pit stop? No, it's not too bad, actually. He's got a few back markers around him, Hoekstra, Rennick Hoekstra, and Stanford just coming into pits as well. That could have been a major game changer there, but somehow Hoekstra looks as though he's got away with it. We'll have to see what the car's like, if he's got any suspension damage or anything like that when he comes back out onto the track through turn 1 now. Where's De Vries as well in all of this? De Vries is actually still behind him as well, so wow, that was heart in mouth moment. But he seems to have got away with it.
As harsh as it may be to say this, one tiny slip-up may have cost Whoopie Hoekstra this race. That is a big mistake to make. He's going to lose lots of time because of it. 4.2 seconds the gap now. I know Milan hasn't pitted, but that could really, really hurt Whoopie Hoekstra. He's 28.1 actually, as it's just updated. And those 4 seconds or so that he lost, that might cost him this race.
It really might do. I just saw... seeing the car pirouetting around, he was so lucky that it ended up pointing back in the right direction again, so he minimised the amount of time lost. And Milan's actually gone around again, so we're going to be kept waiting here. Going to be guessing for a little bit longer, it seems. It'll be interesting to see. Has Hoekstra got any damage? Is he struggling for pace? He's lost half a second there, but that's probably down to the tyres still warming up here. And not too much else. So I think of the next lap, Josh, that's probably where we're going to see whether he's sustained any damage from that incident in the pit entry.
Yeah, this next lap really is going to be the teller. I don't assume he had. He may have fixed it, but we'll see for sure on this coming lap whether there was any major side effects from that collision that he had. I'm hoping there won't be, of course, because that would be terrible. But, you know, if there is, we'll see then what exactly has happened. But my boy Milan will be thanking his lucky stars that he managed to avoid that because, well, it was such a big collision and it cost him quite a bit of time even in just being in the air and not going anywhere did Whoopty. And that, as I say, it's difficult to make that sort of time back up.
Yeah, that's definitely why it looks like he's really pushing at the moment. He just made a bit of a mistake into turn one, just got the back end out a little bit and lost a bit of time, but not too bad. 28.8 seconds now, the gap between first and second, and considering it was 28.1 after he came out the pits, he hasn't lost too much time at the moment, at least on track, but of course he would have lost plenty of time heading into the pit lane. So this is incredibly interesting. And now Milan pits, that's it. That's what I was waiting for. I thought it might happen this lap, and it certainly has done. So at the end of lap 18, Milan is into the pit lane. He goes into his box. He goes up onto the jacks. Everything looking okay. Yeah, it's not too bad actually. Pretty standard pit time. And Hoekstra is only coming around the final corner now. Milan's already heading down the pit lane. Where's the line? He's still got a bit further to go. It must be feeling like an age for Milan. He gets released now. He's off and away. Hoekstra's coming round to turn one. Milan's coming round turn one himself on the inside, of course. And Milan does come out, but only just there. It must only be half a second between the two of them. So after all that, Hoekstra's not done bad at all to be right on the back of Milan. And of course, his tyres are up to temps now as well. So that means that he's going to have an advantage over Milan for the next half a lap or so. And this is where he's really got to go for it.
And you know what? That he's just done a 1:29.6 out of the box. That is how quick he is. Obviously, that collision has not hurt him at all, and we are right back on with the lead battle here at Assen. And now Whoopty Hoekstra has a chance to get back in the lead and make Sven de Vries' life a bit harder. As it stands, there'll only be 4 points or so between them more at the end of this race. There'll be 5 points total. So realistically, Sven de Vries, if the finishing order is like this, just needs to win the next race, and he's secured it. Chance at the title in the next round, and he can probably start to build up a potential catalogue of wins. But really, Whoopty Hoekstra wants to get back in front now and put the pressure back on back on the American.
Yep, this is going to be really tight. Milan has had a bad couple of rounds recently. He's picked up a couple, or quite a few podiums actually, but he's just missing out on that win so far this season. Hasn't won at all, which is surprising considering how strong he's been throughout the season and really put in a great stint for Multiforce. But this is his chance. He's going to be sweating a little bit though, and goes a bit wide into turn one as well. And certainly, I think he's looking in his mirrors more than anything now. He just needs to keep it calm at the moment because I'm sure the fact that he hasn't won yet is certainly going to be preying on his mind.
Oh, he's up the door with Paul, trying to go straight through. Never mind, I think he's disconnected.
He's disappeared, and De Vries and Fournier batting out for second as well. Whilst all that's going on, we'll keep you updated with where Milan is. At the moment, we can't see him, but De Vries and Fournier side by side, coming out to turn 5, 6. And can Fournier get this position? It looks like he can. And oh, Milan's out. He is indeed out. So Boyer Milan is out of this race, and Fournier goes through on De Vries as well, up into second. So all of a sudden, it's gone from bad to worse for De Vries, and well, just gone. All roses up for Hoekstra. Just everything just seems to have worked out for him just then. That's unfortunate though for Milan. He was looking like he could win the race, but he's completely gone.
Ben needs to be really careful here trying to get past Fournier. Fournier's defending brilliantly. He causes a collision now, which I suspect he won't, of course, because we know Sven's a great driver. But if it does happen, just out of sheer bad luck, then it is going to really hurt his championship standings. He needs to exercise caution here. He needs to maybe think, is it really worth getting past Jeffrey here? It's going to hurt my championship chances if I don't, but I can't really risk anything at this point.
Yeah, this is interesting. So De Vries actually had a bad lap on the previous lap. He lost about 6 seconds, and I was wondering about that. That's why Fournier's just got past him. So he made a mistake somewhere, and whilst he was right behind the leading pair, probably going to catch them as they squabbled away. Right now, he's actually looking at the back of Fournier instead, and back into third place. Muscat right behind him as well. So it's a good battle for second here, and De Vries just makes a mistake there going into turn 4, and that will really hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, that's going to hurt him slightly. It's not really going to help his cause that much, is for certain. But yeah, Sven de Vries really just chasing down Fournier at this point and needs to get through to get that points gap back to a more manageable level, because it's going to be quite severe at this point. It is going to be at least 9 points added to Hoekstra's total.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of points difference, and one that De Vries may struggle to make up in the second race if the positions stay the same. Milan's actually re-entered the race, just to let you know. He's coming out of the pits now, but down in 10th and last of the current runners. And he could actually lose another lap here, so disaster for Milan, but he's going to battle on for the team and for himself, I'm sure, in the championship as well. But well, it was looking like a great day for him. It's turned into an absolute disaster. But De Vries right now all over the back of Fournier, nearly pushing him around this track, looking each way. And Fournier's made a bit of a mistake going through the final chicane. That gives De Vries a run, but Fournier is sticking right to the pit wall there. He's not letting De Vries go up the inside at all, and De Vries is going to have to go around the outside of one. I look at the speed that he took through one there. He's done it, has he? They're going to be side by side through 2. But Fournier is coming back at De Vries as they go through 3 and into 4 as well. These corners just keep on going round and round and round. And Fournier just about holds onto it there, but great battle. De Vries nearly got the position in turn 1 alone.
Almost did. That would have been a stunner if he had, because that was great stuff from Sven there, but did not get through in the end. Unfortunately, Fournier did a good job of defending, and he's going to be able to stay there for now as the Frenchman, who's been in a bit of run of form recently in sim racing, so he's definitely the form man in this race, one of them at least. Really want to watch, but Sven, if he does not get through, he's going to have a 10-point gap to contend with in race 2, and that is going to really hurt his cause, because, well, he knows that if the reverse happens, and, then, it might not be so good for him in second race, because, well, obviously, Wookie's going to be there, but yeah, Sven de Vries really, at this point, needs to start thinking about getting past Fournier, because he might not want to be dealing with the increase in points that will come with this, and I'm going to calculate that for you now.
Right, then, so I'll keep an eye on this battle, because De Vries is certainly not giving up again through the final chicane. This time around, when he gets a much better run and doesn't feel the need to defend going into turn 1, that is probably the correct decision, because De Vries just can't quite catch him down the straights. It's pretty much as they were through 1 and 2 as well. So Fournier right now just managing this pressure, taking it in his stride, and he's not letting De Vries get to him. Of course, Fournier hasn't actually managed to get a second place so far this year. He's had a couple of third places. They'll be looking now to gain a good result here, his best result of the season potentially. But of course, De Vries and Muscat behind are both hungry drivers, I'm sure I have something to say about that. There's looking a bit further back as well. Definitely the battle on the track. The rest of the guys a bit more spread out, but what a great battle it is, because Fournier is really having to push the car to his limits. De Vries looking every which way, every corner. He looks like he's thinking about having a go as we go into the back end of the circuit. And De Vries just lights up the rear tyres there, having to put opposite lock on coming out the corner, but it didn't affect him too much. Fournier is still just ahead of him. And down the back through these fast corners, around this long left-hander and heading towards the final chicane. Fournier having to take a slightly defensive line. That's going to compromise him through the chicane and running down onto the pit straight again, hugging the inside wall there, practically touching it with the right-hand side of his car. He really doesn't want to let De Vries even have a look, but there we go, De Vries around the outside. gets it done in turn 1, but can he hold it through turn 2? Again, Fournier coming back in turn 2, Muscat having a peak as well. They're going to be side by side through 3 and 4 and into 5. Fournier will be able to just hold on to it because De Vries has fallen too far back to keep his nose up the inside. Fournier runs a little bit wide, but De Vries didn't exactly have a good run out the corner either. And again, a fantastic battle between these two, with Muscat looking on. And somehow Fournier keeps managing to keep it going through turns 2, 3 and 4. So by the time we get to 5, he's back ahead. Just fantastic battling and great respect between the two drivers.
Fournier and De Vries' battle has now let Jason Muscat into this, and if Muscat gets past De Vries, it's just going to go even worse for the American. Then that's going to mean even more points he has to make up in race day. So really, at this point, Sven De Vries has the toughest job because he's attacking Fournier, which he's doing now, but he's also going to defend from Muscat, who he's going to try and chuck it on the inside of this fast corner.
Yeah, they're side by side, aren't they? They're going to be side by side down straight through this next couple of fast corners. There's a long left-hander coming up, so that's going to favour Fournier. De Vries is going to have to slot back in, but can he ever go into the final chicane? Fournier gets defensive early, and Muscat looking up the inside. De Vries tries to go around the outside. They're going to go side by side through the chicane. Oh, there's contact between Muscat and De Vries. And somehow they both keep it pointed in a straight line. And again, positions stay the same.
Well, Jason, I think it just Sven got forced the inside, hit the curb and slowed down a bit. Nothing really Jason can do. He was already there. But yeah, that is just how close it can get here at WCS sometimes, how close the racing can be. And De Vries now pretty much knows he has. It's not a case if he wants to get past Jeffrey, he has to. He doesn't have a choice anymore. He's being held up and Muscat's getting chance after chance by being behind him.
Yeah, I think each of these drivers now are definitely pushing as hard as they can. They're both trying. Muscat's just fallen back a little bit, but I'm sure he'll gain that time back, especially when De Vries and Fournier inevitably do battle once again. De Vries just took a bit too much curb there, got the car really loose and somehow managed to hold on to it. It's wide through that next corner, and certainly on the absolute ragged edge. How he hasn't gone off yet, I don't quite know. He's using the track and then a little bit more, and right now Fournier is just hanging on for dear life, but doing a tremendous job of it. Excellent defending so far by Fournier, and not looking too busted when De Vries tries to go around his outside, always taking the defensive line when he needs to, and I have a feeling he's going to have to do so once again as he head again around this long left-hander into the final chicane. Fournier keeping the car in the middle of the track. De Vries going to try and get run out the chicane. Fournier, of course, he'll stick to the right hand side of the track. It's what he's got to do. He's done it every time. Oh, this time around though, he decides to move back to the left hand side of the track, but I don't think De Vries quite had an answer for him there. Fournier was able to take the corner how he wants it without compromising his line. Probably doesn't want De Vries going around the outside of him. Probably feels that maybe it's just as bad as De Vries going up the inside into turn 1 there. So it's an ever-evolving battle, and I think we're actually on the final lap of the race now.
Yep, we are on the final lap. Whoopie Hoekstra is on the final lap, and he's going to probably take the win at this rate, which is going to really help him in the championship standings. Of course, make a major mistake from him. But Fournier, De Vries, Muscat right behind, and Jason Muscat, he just hoped at this point Fournier is going to back De Vries into him so he can go for the overtake, but De Vries wants through at any means necessary. This time, he just wants to try and get through. He's just looking everywhere, but there are no doors open. The Frenchman has already shut all of them and bolted them.
Yeah, every which way that these guys are looking, there isn't a change of position. It's all going to come down to the final couple of corners. I think Fournier now looking to just about hold on.
The final couple.
Yep, as here comes Hoekstra now into the final chicane there for the final time of this race. Wubke Hoekstra, he's going to come across the line. He's going to take his 4th race win of the row. That's 6 wins from 8, and that is surely a big stride towards his championship. Jeffrey Fournier comes across the line, just about holds on. De Vries in 3rd and Muscat in 4th place as well. They all stayed in the same positions in the end, but what an absolutely entertaining battle between the 4 of them. Joe Watts is a little bit further down the field, so just to say an absolute congratulations to Hoekstra there. A great win. Of course, got a bit of luck when Milan had his issues earlier on, but sometimes you need a little bit of luck as well. And that is a big haul of points for him. De Vries has to settle for 3rd then, and that's really going to affect him in the championship. Milan is out of the championship, of course. I think Muscat is pretty much on his way out of the championship battle right now. Joe Watts comes across the line in 5th place then, and Rob Mason is coming around the final couple of corners. A great run for Rob Mason then as well. We haven't really spoken about him too much, but starting in 11th, he picks up a 6th place, and that's a great result. Rennick Hoekstra was in 7th. Milan actually recovers to 8th place after his earlier disconnection, so at least he can have a promising grid position of 3rd place in race 2, so that's good for him. Richard Brooks is your driver who come home in 9th place for Racing Team Schroten, and that means that Eric Stanford for Woods Racing will pick up 10th place here, and he will be on reverse grid pole for our 2nd race of the day.
Yep, reverse grid pole for Stanford, and I'm hoping he can make a good use of that as well. You know, 5th in qualifying, you know, he's going to be 1st and 5th in these races. That is a great start for him. Anyway, would you like to know some quick maths?
Yes, absolutely, Josh. That's exactly what I've been waiting for, and I'm sure everyone at home has too.
Yep, well, as it stands, the situation is like this. So, it's pretty much got to be a good result for Sven de Vries this race because of the way this has worked out. Wupke Hoekstra is going to go on to 277 points to Sven de Vries's 219. So, basically, this is how it's going to work out. If Sven de Vries wins this race, Wupke Hoekstra has to finish 3rd to secure the championship. That win in race 1 means Sven de Vries can no longer win on the amount of wins. He must outscore Wupke Hoekstra in this championship. If Sven de Vries finishes 2nd, a 5th place or a 4th place will be enough for Hoekstra. And if de Vries finishes 3rd, it's more than likely going to be the lower echelons of 9th that will be enough for Wupke Hoekstra to seal it.
Right then, so Hoekstra's really got to not have the kind of race that he's been having recently. We have to go back quite a long way to see him have a bad race. He's actually never even DNF'd, so this is going to have to be something out of the ordinary then for Hoekstra, isn't it? If de Vries wants to have any realistic chance of still being in this championship, but of course, anything could happen.
Yeah, the gap between the two is 9 points at the moment, of course, with 25 points for a win, 20 points for 2nd, 16 for 3rd, 13 for 4th, 11. So basically, Sven de Vries has to finish 7th or higher in this race, otherwise Wupke Hoekstra has won the championship.
Assuming that Hoekstra doesn't finish then, of course, as well.
Yeah, he would know, even on that, they would have the same amount of points, but Sven cannot win on the amount of wins now, so he pretty much has to outscore Wupke throughout the entirety of this championship. Because Wupke's taken 7 wins now, Sven has 3, he can't match that.
Wow, that is certainly interesting stuff. I'm trying to do the maths at the same time as well. That is incredibly looks like it's going to be Hoekstra's, but of course nothing is confirmed, is it? It's really going to be down to what happens in this race. And so don't go away. Don't miss this 2nd race for sure, because we could be crowning our new champion at the end of this one. And well, that would be fantastic stuff. I'm trying to work out, Josh, whether we've settled the team standings, the teams championship now, or whether that's still ongoing.
The teams, I do believe, is still an ongoing saga at the moment. But I'm just looking at this, and the way it's looking, it actually looks like, while the standings I may have given you are correct, in effect, realistically, it's going to have to be 4th or higher for Sven, because we only have 12 runners, and the points go down to 15, with it being 1 point for 15th, 2 points for 14th, 3 points for 13th place. So the minimum that Wupke Hoekstra is going to score, if everyone finishes the race, then he's last is 3 points. So realistically, Sven de Vries needs to score 12 or more points this race, so he needs a 3rd or higher.
He does, doesn't he? You're absolutely right. Try to work it out. A bit of maths here. If you retire from a race, you don't get any points though, do you? Or do you pick up points?
Yeah, if you retire from the race, I think you have to complete a certain distance. So, if Wupke Hoekstra retires and scores no points, Sven de Vries has to finish minimum 4th. But if just to keep him, that's to negate the lead that Hoekstra has, though. So realistically, though, if Hoekstra retires and gets no points, then it's going to be pretty much on for Sven. But either way, he's going to need a solid result here from to win the championship. I would say fourth or higher, but he'll be aiming for the win, although I'll keep you updated throughout the race as to the championship ramifications.
Great stuff, Josh. I'm glad you're on it because I'm already getting confused here trying to work all of this out.
It's confusing stuff, isn't it? I love it, though. I love the stats. I love keeping on top of championship standings.
Yeah, so do I. I usually prefer it when I can do it in my own comfort and in my own time rather than sat here talking away and trying to do all that algebra and everything in my head at the same time. It really is quite difficult stuff, but definitely look at the team's championship then. CM Tech actually outscored Multiforce in that previous race, and the gap between the two of them will actually have come down, and it's going to take quite a bit for Multiforce to then win the team's championship today in the second race. It's going to have to take well, pretty much no points for CM Tech and a good haul of points, about 30 or more for Multiforce to be able to pick up the championship. So I think we're going to have to wait for that one. That one's going to go down to the final round at the Red Bull Ring, so we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer for that. But certainly the full focus then is on the Drivers' Championship, and right now as Hoekstra, you're starting in 10th in race 2, and you know that you just need to get a few points on the board. Do you absolutely go for it, or do you just play it safe for the race?
Whoopie needs to play this race based on where Sven de Vries finishes, because as we know, he is 9 points ahead in the standings. So if Sven de Vries charges on and wins this race, Whoopie Hoekstra only needs to finish third, and he has won the championship. That's it. He needs to play this based on where Sven de Vries is. If Sven is managing to get himself into second place, Whoopie only needs to finish fourth. If Sven is third, then Whoopie obviously only is going to need 7 points, and that means considerably further down the order. So he needs to play this based on where Sven is. He needs to try to not push too hard here, although knowing Whoopie, he'll be going for the win.
Yeah, he's definitely, well, he's on such a run of form. I mean, after winning 4 races in a row now, you'd want to go for the win again. And of course, not only that, but Hoekstra's won the last 4 race 2s on the trot. And as a matter of fact, in the last 6 race 2s that we've had, he's won 5 of them. So he really has become the master of race 2 this season. We were saying it earlier on after only a couple of wins, but now there's no denying it. And it's only become even more incredible in the last few rounds as well, when he's had quite low starting positions from having such a strong race 1. So we'll have to see if he can pick up another win, which would definitely seal the championship for him. But I don't know. I've been 2 minds. Does he want to wrap it up now? Does he want to wait till the Red Bull Ring? Is he going to just go for it here today? Or is he just going to have a safety round and then just hold on to try and get just enough points? De Vries, of course, though, we know he's going to absolutely go for it from his starting position of 8th place. He'll be looking to carve through the field very quickly, but Milan could be the one to really upset that then, because he's going to be starting from 3rd place on the grid, and I'd probably say he's my favourite at the moment to win race 2, barring any technical difficulties.
Yeah, and it's looking like we're going to have 12 cars for this second race here. So as long as Whoopie Hoekstra makes the end of this race, he is guaranteed at least 4 points, bringing his effective lead to 13 points here. So he is going to need, at this point, if Sven de Vries takes the win. Sven has got to go for the win. He's got no choice here. He must go for the win. Sven de Vries, if he takes the win, Whoopie is going to need 4th. And that's going to be it for him. He needs 4th. If Sven is 2nd, then obviously he just needs to worry about getting 8 points. If Sven is 3rd, it's going to be 4 points, and I think he's guaranteed those 4 points. So now de Vries is pretty much going to get a podium or bust. So he's got no choice but to charge hard.
Yep, he's just going to go for it. I think this is why this is going to be an absolutely fantastic race to watch. It's just going to be everything and anything for De Vries. He's just going to have to charge through the field as fast as he can. It looks like it's Mike Quince then. Mike Quince, the guy who hasn't returned for race 2, and I think he's probably not too pleased after having a strong showing at the start of the race there. But it doesn't look like he's going to be able to come back here after struggling in the mid part of the race, just having that terrible lap that cost him quite dearly in his race. So still 12 guys to battle it out, and 12 very strong drivers as well.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Actually, I think I've made a bit of a mistake. I added the points to Whoopi Hook's total before he's actually earned them. So that's not something you want to be doing. But yeah, he's managed to get himself 252 points. He's on 277, as we know. And De Vries, obviously, with that third place last race, is on 219. So, you know, the gap is 58, and he's going to need to get 9 points or more, outscoring by Wookie 9 points or more is Sven to do this. So realistically, as we say, Wookie needs a third or higher if Sven wins. So it's pretty much podium or bust for De Vries because it's looking very bad for him otherwise.
Yeah, it's looking bad either way. I wonder if he's resigned himself to the fact that this year's not quite going to be his year. He started off so strongly as well, didn't he? He really had a good run. He won the first couple of races. He was on the podium quite often in the first few rounds, and picked up his third win of the season in the third round in France. But then after that, he just hasn't been able to quite recapture the form. He's had a couple of podiums, but a couple of lower point scores. A few missed rounds as well just means that it hasn't quite worked out for Sven in the end, and never quite been able to get back into the top step. But today, that could be all about to change, because I think he's going to be a very determined man. As we go onto the grid then, all the drivers jumping out there and getting ready. We're going to have one formation lap as per usual. Before we get this race underway, we're just waiting for Geoffrey Fournier. There he is. He's onto the grid. So it looks like we're all set and ready to go with all 12 drivers here. Off and onto their formation lap. So Eric Stanford then, after his 10th place in race 1 for Woods Racing, he takes pole position with with Richard Brooks alongside him. Borja Milan is in third for Multiforce after nearly having a good chance of winning race 1. It was coming down to a battle between himself and Hoekstra. He's going to be looking to win this race. Rennick Hoekstra then for CM Tech. He's actually just dropped back to the pit. So interesting stuff there. He's going to have to start from the pit lane if he's going to start at all. And that's not good for CM Tech in their chase for second place yet. Hoekstra then, Rennick Hoekstra that is, coming out of the pits. He's going to be starting from the pit lane. Rob Mason then in 5th place for Fanatec Drake Racing, with Joe Watts for EJ Engineering in 6th. He had a good solid race in race 1 and went a bit under the radar, but just kept his head down and had a good run. Jason Muscat from Multiforce is in 7th, with Sven De Vries then starting in 8th and definitely vying to look as far forward as he can. First is really where he's going to be looking right now if he wants to stay in this championship. Geoffrey Fournier took his best result of the season of 2nd place in race 1, and a good haul of points for TBR Blue Boss as well. He'll be starting in 9th, with Wupke Hoekstra then for CM Tech starting in 10th place. This could be his day. He's just got to keep an eye on De Vries and not drop too many points to him, and he will be champion. Jacob Pegg is in 11th, and Wesley Stefano, the second of the EJ Engineering cars, rounds out your 12 car field. And Josh, this really is serious stuff now. Who's the man that you're going to put your money on for the race, and for whether the title will be wrapped up here as well?
Yeah, this is serious business now, and Van der Vries, he needs to pretty much win this at this point. Wupke Hoekstra is going to need to have good results as well. I would not put it past Boy Milan Connection Papinic for the win, but really the championship fight is going to be where we're going to focus in this race.
Yep, it certainly will be. But right now, we're going to focus on those lights because they're coming on. The engines have risen, and the second race of the penultimate round is underway. That's a good start from Stanford. He's got away cleanly. Brooks slots in behind him, and Mason and Joe Watts go side by side into turn one. They're all fanning out and looking around. Oh, there's contact. Mason's gone around, and he's going to come around in front of the whole field. Oh, there's a huge crash behind. Muscat goes around. I think that was Peg that went around as well, and Richard Brooks also. So disastrous start for some drivers, but De Vries is already up into third place. He's battling away with Watson. Milan dives up the inside of De Vries. They're side by side coming out of turn 5, and right behind him is Wupke Hoekstra then. So this is a huge battle right here. Watts, De Vries, Milan, Hoekstra. Second, third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah, Rob Mason at the start, just he and Richard Brooks are coming through the corner, and they just had a slight coming together through the corner there. I don't know whether Brooks understeered or what happened there, but yeah, Mason and Brooks had a collision with each other. In fact, Richard Brooks was he was in fourth or so at the time, and I think he tried to make the apex, but missed. Then him and Mason came together, and then Mason got collected by loads of cars. That's why he's down in 11th now. Peg's in the gravel in 12th. Brooks down at 10th. Brink Hoekstra has actually jumped up to 9th in all this because the pit lane started Muscat 8th, Stefano 6th, and Fournier ahead. But this massive train for second ahead.
Yeah, it's 2 by 2 here. Hoekstra's just got past Milan. De Vries looks like he's got past Joe Watts as well. Hoekstra's going to follow him through. And here comes Fournier out of nowhere as well. They're going to be 3 wide into the final chicane. Fournier goes straight on, misses the chicane. Hoekstra and Watts, they make contact. They make contact again. They're still side by side. Fournier's dropped back then down to 7th. He's lost a huge deal of positions. It looks like Wupke Hoekstra is going to pick up 3rd place here from Watts. He's right behind De Vries right now, exactly where he needs to be. And the two of them have got 3 seconds to find on Stanford in front of them. Certainly not impossible indeed, but it just shows what a great start Stanford has and how important it was for De Vries and Hoekstra as well to get past Watts early on, because he was certainly just holding them up a little bit there on that first lap as he just got up to speed. And now Milan and Stefano and Fournier are all behind him as well.
Eric Stanford has just pulled 0.2 of a second out from Sven De Vries. He's having a stormer of a start here. He has absolutely dropped the American there, and he has had no problems with it. It's Eric Stanford. I don't know where this has come from. He's just flying at the moment.
Yeah, he had a good qualifying, didn't he? Of course, qualified in 5th place, but didn't really have the start to match it. But right now, he's showing these guys what he can do. And storming first lap. Yeah, he's dropped a few tenths now, but he did have a great first lap, and at least you could say he led the race for a lap or two, which is no mean feat at all.
Yeah, that is a pretty good feat from Stanford. At least lead a couple of laps in the race. He's doing a pretty good job of it as well. He's just there. He's blown me away with his pace. I mean, the gap might be coming to De Vries down now. Yeah, De Vries is just taking 3/10 out of him. He probably is going to catch up then, but he's where he needs to be right now. Wupke Hoekstra, though, this is the thing, right? Wupke Hoekstra is 3rd, and Sven De Vries is currently 2nd. That's 5 points. That's not enough. In the current standings of the race, Wupke Hoekstra will still claim the title in this race. Sven De Vries needs to do more. He needs to get into that 1st place, and he needs to hope and pray Wupke Hoekstra does not follow him into 2nd.
Yeah, he's just following De Vries right now is Hoekstra, and actually closing the gap between the two of them as well. So definitely looking like he's got a decent amount of pace here as Hoekstra. We could see a battle between the two championship leaders as well. Milan isn't too far behind in 4th place after it looks like Joe Watts had an issue in the final corner of the previous lap. He just, I think he went around the final corner, so he's dropped back into 8th place now. He was 4th, Milan, Fournier, Stefano and Muscat all managed to get past him. But the focus is rather on the front right now. The gap between Stanford and De Vries is down now to 2 seconds. It's definitely closing up more and more as this race continues. Muscat has moved up into 6th place. Stefano and Muscat are battling it out. Stefano's looking every which way, and it's the final corner. Having a look around the outside, but Muscat just about holds on there and retains 6th place. So across the line, it was 1.7 seconds between Stampert and De Vries. It seems to be about 0.3 of a second every sector. The gap is closing between the two. So in about 2 laps time, barring anything substantial, we should have a battle for the lead as well, and Hoekstra is following De Vries every which way. That gap looks considerably closer now. I think Stafford might have had a little bit of an issue in the first sector. No, it's only 0.3 again. It's come down, so keeping it consistent in terms of the speed between the two drivers is 1.4 seconds, and it's getting ever and ever closer now. I think that's another 0.3 that De Vries has taken out of Stampford here, and he's certainly going to be getting the benefit of the slipstream down the straights as well. Stampford will be looking in his mirrors now, because he's going to have 2, maybe 3 cars really closing right up to him. We'll have to see how he can defend this one. So the gap has completely gone. It's less than half a second now between Stampford and De Vries. And as we enter the final chicane on lap 4 already, after 13, so about a third of the way through the race, already De Vries is now onto the back of Stampford. Stampford hasn't defended so far. He's now looking to the inside of turn 1. De Vries is going to have to go around the outside. We see how strong he is around the outside of turn 1, but can he hold it further around? He just goes off the track a little bit there. Oh, look at that. Hoekstra's dived up the inside. He's taken them both out of nowhere. Opportunistic driver by Hoekstra. He just passed both drivers into turn 1, and that could be the definitive moment in the championship. That could be the point, because I think De Vries as well, he's had a bit of an issue. Had a bit of coming together. Milan coming out turn 5, and he's dropped back behind Fournier now. He's down to 4th, and it's just gone from bad to worse with De Vries. That could well and truly be it now. Hoekstra's on his way in 1st place. De Vries down to 4th place. De Vries needed to beat Hoekstra anyway, so this is going completely in the wrong direction for De Vries. Completely going in the right one. Hoekstra looking really good for him now. He just needs to bring the car home to take the championship crown, but of course it's still a long way to go. This is not an easy track. There's not much runoff, lots of grass on the outside of these corners. Anything could still happen, and Stampford is still there, just half a second behind, trying to keep up with Hoekstra right now. We'll see how long he can keep that up for as Fournier starts to close it down as well. So completing lap 5 then, and the gap remains at half a second between your new leader Wopke Hoekstra. Stampford just holding him on here. This is really good actually, really impressive stuff. Stampford could have fallen away by now after losing what was 2 positions at one point, and then De Vries made a mistake, so it was only actually 1 position in the end that he lost. He's still in 2nd, and Fournier's just closed up a little bit more now, just getting closer to Stampford. De Vries and Milan and Muscat and even Stefano are coming along as well. There's actually only 3.7 seconds separating the top 4 here, so really close stuff. Top 7 I should say, top 7. It really is close stuff between 7 of them, as Fournier just has a look at Stampford there, just tries to peek it up the inside, but not close enough. Oh, Stampford's just made a bit of a mistake, gone wide there. That's given Fournier the inside line. De Vries as well, he's looking to the inside. Fournier's already through, and it looks like De Vries is going to get through as well, and he is on to back of Fournier right now. The nose to tail then, going round to complete another lap. We get to the end of lap 6. And De Vries can take so much speed through the first part of that chicane, but he's just can't seem to get the run on Fournier down into turn 1. Fournier isn't even feeling the need to defend here into what is a very quick right-hander, and then another quick turn 2 as well. It reminds me a little bit of Suzuka, maybe a bit wider, not quite as tight. Certainly has a similar feel to it. Fournier right now, it feels like Deja vu, doesn't it? As Milan has also got past Sanford into 4th place. Feels a bit like deja vu. Feels a bit like race 1 all over again. Hoekstra leads with Fournier and De Vries battling it out for 2nd place, as it was right at the end of that 3rd race. But this time around, Milan is there with these guys as well. And he is praying. He's doing what Muscat did in race 1. He's just holding station, looking for any which way that he can potentially get past these guys. Maybe looking for a mistake or just any kind of coming together. This time now, De Vries just got a nose up the inside of Fournier, but again, just not quite able to hold on to it. And we'll see him close up again through the chicane, I'm sure. But he's really having to worry about Milan because Milan is looking all over the back of De Vries as well. There we go, De Vries has had a good run this time around. He's gone to the outside of Fournier already. They're going to be side by side down the pit straight. And it's just going to prevent Fournier from taking the line that he wants into turn 1. But De Vries has gone a bit wide there, and that's left the door open. Milan is having a look at the inside, but not quite close enough. And just has to back off in the end. A really good battle between these three. For 2nd place, of course, and this is only helping Hoekstra as well. He's now 2.5 seconds ahead of these guys, and that's definitely down to the battling that these three have been doing. It's just allowed the gap to extend a little bit. Further back as well, Sanford's just about holding on to 5th. He's got Muscat behind him. Where's Stefano? Not too far behind either. So it looks like we've got a couple of freeway battles to keep us entertained. So we did about halfway of this race 2 distance, shorter race distance, of course, only half the length of race 1, so much quicker round here. As De Vries again looks to the inside of Fournier. He's got the inside line going into this chicane, but it's a very quick chicane. Of course, not too much steering angle required. Get through it, it's nearly a straight line. And again through the final chicane, De Vries is all over the back of Fournier. Just not close enough to have a go into turn 1. Is he going to have a go this time around? He's going to have a look. He just has to let off. He can't just dive it in there. It's not quite going to work like that. Fournier will just end up turning in on him because it'll be such a late lunge, and it's certainly not one that can be pulled off. Milan as well, looking every which way on De Vries. He also just struggling to overtake. Certainly a tight track, and a lot of these corners are very quick as well. Not really where you expect to see a lot of overtaking taking place, but we've seen a decent amount of it today, and the battles have been absolutely fantastic as well. Oh, De Vries has gone round. De Vries has gone round. He's just lost it. He's come out the corner, got onto the outside of the grass, and he's absolutely spun it around. And I have a feeling then that for De Vries, that is the end of his championship hunt. After being in 3rd place there, just made a mistake. He's gone around, and he's all the way back to 7th place then. Fair enough ahead of Joe Watts, but he's completely gone backwards. And Sanford as well has just lost the position to Wesley Stefano. He's dropped back to 6th. Muscat's moved up into 4th place also, so that's going to be a good haul of points then for Multiforce if it stays the same. But right now it looks as though Hoekstra has just got a few more laps to do, and he can call himself the WCS Formula 3 champion.
Yeah, he can do. I think, honestly, with the way it's been going this race, Whoopie Hoekstra, as soon as he's got that lead, De Vries knew he had to get back, and, you know, he pushed too hard. Ultimately, he's just thrown himself down to 6th. Whoopie was going to win it anyway. He was ahead on points. He was just going to bolster that with a win. Ben had to get to the lead, and it's not worked for him.
No, it certainly hasn't worked for him at all, and while A for effort really, but it's a difficult place to overtake, and Fournier has been in absolutely magnificent form today in terms of defending. I've seen him do a fantastic job throughout, and De Vries, I'm sure, will be sick of looking at the back of that car You just have to look at it now, but that's of course because he's further back down the field. He's maybe got a chance of catching up with the likes of Stamford ahead, but with the laps clicking down already, we're on to lap 10, and actually coming towards the end of lap 10 as well. Time's running out for him, but really all of that now is pretty futile because Hoekstra is just waltzing his way towards another win here and the championship title as well. It's looking pretty easy for him right now. He just looks like he's in a completely different class.
He makes it look so easy, doesn't he, Whoopi Hoekstra? I mean, just to get into the lead in the first place, he's gone above and beyond. He's going to win in total, and so far, this is going to be what will be his 8th race win, his 5th in a row. If you're going to win a championship, Whoopi, do it in style, and he's done just that.
He has. He just seems to have gone into another gear in these final few rounds of the season and just turned it around because, at one point he was about 50 points behind De Vries. So to completely turn it on its head like he has done has truly been impressive stuff. And while you can't really say he's not fully deserving of the championship challenge because he's, or championship title, I should say, because he's risen to the challenge when he's needed to. And he's just put in some really professional, really mature performances. Even when it looked like it was going against him, he's been able to turn it around. And while Josh, the overtaking move that he did going into turn 2, where he got past Stamford and De Vries in one corner in this race, was worthy of the championship itself. It was truly a poacher's overtake, but an incredibly skilled overtake as well.
Yeah, that move, I think, really secured the championship for Whoopi Hoekstra. He just got past both of them in one corner. Sven De Vries must have felt so defeated when that happened. He must have known in that instance Whoopi Hoekstra just took the title from him. He just getting past both at once. That is a pure show of skill. It's the work of a champion, it really is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, well, he's only got a couple of laps left to go now. And I'm sure he's probably just started to take it a little bit easier. So Wesley Stefano's actually retired here. He's retired with brake failure apparently. So a real shame for him. He was doing well in 7th place, and that means that he's gonna, well, he'll be last of everyone in this race because no one else retired. It's been a bit of a cleaner race in terms of no major incidents apart from that first lap, of course. So unlucky for Stefano.
Well, these brakes are made for braking, and that's just what they'll do, evidently, Sam. But not in that context. We don't want that kind of braking to happen from the brakes. But still, yeah, we've seen Wesley go. A lot of people have had brake failure this season in these Formula 3 cars. Very fragile things, evidently. They will break if you abuse them, and they've shown that this season by giving up on several drivers throughout the course of the season. Most notably, not just Wesley Stefano. We've had other drivers have brake failures too. Janis Simitic, I believe, was one of the drivers who's had brake failure. A lot of drivers have. I mean, Matt Richards has it, Chris Kinsman's had it, Amos Mashudi had it. There's lots of drivers with big problems in this series, and Whoopi Hoekstra is going to start what is probably going to be his championship lap now, coming around turn 1 and 2 now. And De Vries is all the way back in 6th, still chasing down Stanford. At this point, I think really it's all over for Sven now, but championship-wise, you can still go for Stanford for 5th, but it is going to be a very Dutch win here at the circuit of Assen. It's going to be 2 wins out of the Dutch driver for the Dutch team, and the Dutchman's going to win the championship. He couldn't get any more Dutch if he tried.
He certainly couldn't, and of course he's got his Dutch compatriot just ahead of him. Of course, his teammate, who's just about to be lapped at the end of this lap here, but well, it's just a nice feeling now for Hoekstra. He's coming around on the final lap. He's got 6 seconds between himself and Fournier in 2nd place, and he doesn't really have to do too much. Just keep the car on the road and just bring it home for the championship. I'm sure he's fully aware of the case. And oh, look at that! It's side by side between Milan and Fournier, just to take it away from Hoekstra for the moment. They were side by side, and Milan had that position for a second. And this time around, Milan's got the inside line, and they go wheel to wheel. It really is close, yeah. But we're going to have to go back to Hoekstra because he's coming round to the final chicane now because this is it, the final lap of this race, the penultimate round. But Hoekstra will win this race. He wins yet another race. It's 5 in a row. But more importantly, Wupke Hoekstra takes the championship. He is the WCS Formula 3 champion for this year. Fournier comes home in second, Milan in third, and Muscat in fourth, and Sven de Vries does get past Stanford in the end to get fifth place, but it just wasn't quite enough on the day. Really, at the end of the day, it was out of de Vries' hands because Hoekstra has done everything right. Stanford is in sixth place. Mason will pick up seventh. Watts will pick up eighth. Jacob Pegg will get ninth place as well. Rennick Hoekstra was one lap down in 10th. Richard Brooks was in 11th. Also a lap down, and Wesley Stefano was the only retiree of the race. But none of that matters really, because at the moment, Wupke Hoekstra is doing the donuts. He's celebrating in style, and so he might, because he has just won the championship with one round to go, and he's done it by winning both races today.
If you're going to win a championship, do so in style. Wupke Hoekstra has done nothing but that. He has absolutely brought it to brilliance, and well, you cannot ask for more than that. To go and win a championship by winning both races in a meeting. And Sven de Vries, well, if you're going to lose, you can't lose to a better result from your championship rival. And I think it's going to be very, very, very happy Dutchman winning Wupke Hoekstra today.
Yeah, he certainly will be. I'm sure we're going to get an interview from him. It'd be a crime not to get an interview with the newly crowned champion, wouldn't it? And we'll have to just wait for that. But well, I can't really fault him today. I don't think I saw him make a single mistake at all. Oh, of course, actually, I say that. He had that huge incident coming into pit entry in race one, but that didn't phase him either, did it? He still managed to keep the car pointed in the right direction after that massive spin, and then just lost the lead a little bit to Milan. But then, of course, Milan had those issues in race one, and it looked like Hoekstra was about to get past him anyway. So we'll never truly know what would have happened in that race. But that still wouldn't have affected the championship. He still would have picked it up today because, of course, he beat de Vries in both of these races. De Vries had to settle for third in race one and a fifth place in race two, and that was more than enough for Hoekstra to take the championship. So we'll just wait for a couple of guys to come in, and going to get a few interviews here today. I know we've got to get some. I can't wait to hear from a certain new champion.
It's been a sensational season, though, really, and Wupke Hoekstra to wrap it up now. We'll be very happy at his home track. I mean, we've had races in Holland here at WCS, but this is one of his home tracks. Is Assen, and you know, Wupke to wrap it up here, she'll be very, very happy. A bit of national pride going on, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. That's a good. I never really thought about that. That's definitely the case, isn't it? He's done it exactly the way he probably wanted to. Now he could go into the final round of the Red Bull Ring and just relax and not worry about anything. So I think we've got a couple of guys to interview. Let's see if we can get them in here, and we'll start the interviews off. And well, I'm actually going to go and speak to a certain driver who I'm sure won't be ecstatic right now. He put up a great battle, but in the end, it wasn't quite enough today. Sven de Vries, of course, you were going into this looking like an outside contender for the championship, but of course, you still had a great chance to keep your championship alive. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough, but a third and a fifth still decent results for you today, and at least it looks like you're going to pick up second place in the championship.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to Wopke. Ecstatic for him. He drove amazing the whole season, very fast, very consistent. So he definitely deserved it. For myself, yeah, I mean it's too bad. Other than that, amazing fun throughout the championship. Of course, there's still one round to go. But today's races, especially race one and race two a little bit as well, that was some like class art battles. It was just that was fantastic. We were so close, nose to tail, side by side. That was fantastic. I really enjoyed myself. I made the same mistake in both races coming out of that turn, just wanting too much, knowing I had to give it 110% to try and stay in the championship fight. Just a little too much, so spun both times. But other than that, I had fun. That's what matters to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you a little bit frustrated with Fournier just for the fact that you couldn't quite get past him? It seemed to be a repeat in race 2 as it was in race 1. You were just stuck behind his gearbox for the whole time.
No, it wasn't necessarily frustrating. I knew where I had my where I was quicker and where I was slower. Except for race 2, I asked Wopke what kind of gearing he was using, so I copied that. Except I forgot to ask what his final gear was. So now I was about 10 kilometers per hour short on that straight. So there wasn't much I could do there in race 2. But yeah, the car felt really good. So coming out of the corners and their braking, I could sometimes try and move. But yeah, I got a little bit unlucky in race 2 that Wopke managed to get in the inside, and Eric braked a little bit later into turn 1. So yeah, Wopke took the both of us, and then got a slight tap, and I knew it was over right then. But nonetheless, it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess final question from me, reflecting on your year, I know we've still got another round left to go, but your year started off so strong and you led the season for quite a while as well. But in the end, Wookiees just come on strong at the end of the season. Is that down to just difference between the two of you, or were you not able to maybe I don't know, did you lose it a little bit? Because it certainly seemed to be about a couple of rounds ago in America where it all just seemed to shift between the two of you, and Wookie just started catching you back up and overtaking you in the championship.
Well, I didn't race in America, unless you mean Barber.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
race
the second.
in Indy. I missed 2 events, so that definitely didn't play in my favor. Otherwise, would have probably be a lot closer. But nonetheless, I think we were both excellent drivers. I'm very happy to see how much progress Wopke has made. With this last year. I remember being on track with him at the same time, and he was usually, a contender for top 10, and he's really re-improved, and he's now, a contender for the race win every race. So that it's awesome to see another guy at the front and another guy you're gonna have to beat. In the end, you want to beat the best drivers, and Wopke managed to beat a whole lot of amazing drivers. When we started this championship, there must have been at least 15 drivers that have won races, have won several championships. In my opinion, this was by far the best field I've ever driven in, and for Wopke to come out on top of that is, and I guess he's pretty pleased with that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Sven, for everything today. And between yourself and Fournier, that was certainly some of the best battling I've seen and the cleanest battling I've seen as well for quite a while. So good stuff, and see you around in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you.
Right then. So I've been waiting a while for this. Certainly looking forward to this. We have the guy who's won both the races here today, but more importantly, he's only gonna won himself the championship. We can now crown him the official WCS Formula 3 champion, and that, of course, is Wutke Hoekstra. And Wutke, just tell us, how do you feel right now?
To be honest, I still can't believe it. Quite, yeah. I'm really happy. That's all I can say. And honestly, when I started this championship, like Sven said, there's a lot of great drivers. So I couldn't imagine being on top of all those drivers. I mean, I was joking sometimes, like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna win," and then I had some rounds, and it lasted a while before I finally got a podium. And all of my podiums have been wins. So I don't know. It's mainly been the end of the season where I came out on top, and I don't know. I didn't quite expect it. Halfway through the season, I was like, "Oh, Sven's easily gonna win," but yeah, then he missed a few rounds, and I somehow managed to get quicker, and yeah, then we had some good battles, and I managed to overtake him in the championship. So amazing feeling right now.
Absolutely. At what point in the championship did you feel that you actually had a real a real realistic chance of being able to win it?
I guess that must have been around around the Nürburgring or at Barber, like you said to Sven as well. That's where I really started winning races, and then I really believed that I could at least try to catch up with him. I wouldn't believe that. I mean, I won both races this time and last time as well. So, and I won 5 races in a row now. I mean, I didn't quite expect that, but yeah, from about just after the halfway point, then I really started believing that I could catch him up.
Absolutely. And just going back to today, then you of course won both races. That was more than enough to take the championship. But looking at that race 2 as well, that pass for the lead, that double pass for the lead going into turn 2, that was incredible stuff. Can you just take us through that? Because that is certainly one of the moves of the season for me.
Thank you. And yeah, I was sitting behind the both of them, and I knew Sven was going to try and overtake around the outside because that's what he told me on TeamSpeak. And so I lined myself up because I knew that because Eric is probably not one of the guys who is in front the most. So I was hoping that he would get a bit nervous and go a bit wide, and that's exactly what he did. And then I just took them around the inside with a nice move there.
Yeah, excellent. I'm just going to bring Josh in here now because Josh, I'm sure you're probably itching to ask a question or two as well. And well, it's a perfect opportunity for it, isn't it? After an incredible couple of races today.
I thought you'd never ask. Well, firstly, Whoopie, massive congratulations on the title to you. Great to see you as a champion in sim racing, and well, how does it actually feel to know that you can now call yourself Whoopie Hoekstra, WCS Formula 3 champion? That's got to give you a confidence boost for next season.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to using the number 1. And yeah, it's just amazing. I've come a long way, and I never believed that I would do it well. There was a point, of course, where I started believing that I could be a champion in sim racing somewhere, sometime, someday. But to have it happen this quickly, that's just amazing. And I gotta say, it's at my home race as well, which makes it even more awesome for all the Dutch fans that were shouting on the grandstands.
I was about to say, you're a Dutch driver who's just won the championship in a Dutch car at a Dutch track. Could you get any more Nederlandse if you tried?
We'll have to see about that. I have to ask my pit crew if they're all Dutch.
Well, if they are, then you can't really get more Dutch, can you? You cannot really.
No, true. It's amazing to win at the home Grand Prix in well, one of my own cars actually, and yeah, Dutch car as you said, and yeah, it's just amazing. It's good to have another Dutch champion as well. That's good.
It asserts the theory is if you want to win, hire a Dutchman, doesn't it?
What did you say? Sorry.
I'm saying it asserts the theory that if you want to win, just get a Dutch person on your team. That you're obviously very good at it.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I need to get some more Dutch people in. Maybe I can arrange something for next season.
We're going to have a Dutch invasion at this rate. Anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. Whoopie. Pleasure. And of course, Sam as well. Not forgetting Sam, the brilliant lead commentator for this race. And well done on the championship again.
Thank you.
Well, that's great stuff then. And of course, yeah, I'd just like to say congratulations again to Upkey for that championship win and an incredible couple of races there. I don't know how you've managed to stay so calm in this interview. I think right now I'd be jumping out the window, jumping all over the room, and would probably be hyperventilating as well. But that's probably reflected in your driving, which has been incredible stuff. So yeah, Whoopkey, congratulations, and well, we'll hope to see you for whatever comes in the next series in the next season.
Yes, thank you. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Excellent stuff then. So for today, I think that's all about time that we've got for this round then, and what a round it has been. But of course, it's not all over yet. We've still got 3 rounds left of the BMW Championship as well. That'll be coming up next week, round 8 from Snetterton. The championship is still very much to play for there, and a close one it is as well. So certainly check that one out. And then in 2 weeks' time, we'll actually be heading back to the F3s again for the final round of the season at the Red Bull Ring. And it's going to be a bit of a party atmosphere, of course, but not everything is decided yet. We've still got the team standings to sort out, the team's championship, and there's plenty of scraps through the field as well for the final positions in both the drivers and the team's championships to sort out. So that's not going to be one to be missed either. And we'll certainly be having a bit of fun on that broadcast, since it'll be the final F3 broadcast of the season. And what a season it has been so far. But for today, after a historic day for WCS, we've crowned a champion with 1 round left to go. That is definitely all that we've got time for. So I've been your commentator, Sam Jones, and alongside me, Joshua Anderson has done a cracking job as always, and a real pleasure to commentate with as per usual. And let's not forget our cameraman extraordinaire, Argo Teder, who's brought you these brilliant pictures here today. And he'll sorely be missed when he goes back into the cockpit, of course, for the BMWs, where he's certainly got a championship to think about. But for me, that's everything. So to all you guys at home, we hope to see you again next week at the same time. But for now, it's goodbye.